Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go. Hello. Welcome to episode 107. I'm Lars. This is Luna. And sadly, BK Broiler will not be a part of this. He'll be a part of it. He may not be on camera for most of it. He's feeling a little under the weather. Not COVID, apparently. He was just on set recently and passed all his COVID stuff, but otherwise is not feeling great. So he will not be here today, but he is running the behind the scenes. So thank you, BK Broiler. He's in the depths of the laptop computer here. He's tinkering around, pressing buttons, pressing banners, playing videos, and doing all that stuff. We've got a great show today. We have a guest on the show that we're going to be speaking with. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to share, if Luna will allow it. Luna, are you okay with this? Can I have a kiss? She's not used to podcasting. You want to sit down? All right, I'm going to put her down. First, we've had a busy week here at the studio. We have obviously audition sessions running all week long, 7 days a week. And as we like to share, we have a shout out here. This is a client shout out. He was here yesterday, Chris Gleason, one of our favorites. And after his session early this morning, he sent us an email saying, "Good morning, Cheryl and Lars. OMG, I had such an awesome time with you, Cheryl. Never felt better during and after an audition. My agent absolutely loved the tape and said to me that this was really great work thanks to you. Lars, it was so great to finally meet you in person. I'm so happy to have you in my corner." And he said, "Have a wonderful day, Cheryl and Lars. Hugs, Chris." So thank you, Chris Gleason. And also thank you, Cheryl Poirier, who ran his session. Cheryl's one of our new audition session directors. We love Chris. He's so, I don't know what the word is, loving, giving, friendly, happy. He's just a great dude and super nice. And they had a really fun session here. As always, if I'm not running the session, I'm in the front room here and I can hear people laughing and sometimes crying, but mostly laughing in the back room. So congrats to Chris, and also congrats to Cheryl, who is one of our new audition session directors. She's actually in the back studio right now. She had a couple sessions. What else we got going on? Make sure to share this out. Those of you who are watching live on Facebook and YouTube right now, smash that share button, share it to the other people on your social media, especially your actor friends. And if you haven't subscribed, we're on all the podcast platforms. So go ahead and subscribe so that you can get access to all of our past episodes too. And for the actors who are looking to elevate their performances and elevate their auditions, you can learn how one actor went from stressful DIY self-tapes to booking a role in a Hollywood blockbuster, plus 2 series leads, all in under 12 months. And you can register to get instant access to our Audition Hero workshop. We run those a few times during the year. Often we run them live, but if you've missed it, that's okay. You can get instant access by going to laughingvikings.com/auditionhero, and you can access all 3 days of those trainings in order to up level and elevate your auditions and your audition systems and processes and performance. Again, go to laughingvikings.com/auditionhero. There it is. Thank you. BK is he's responsible. See that banner right there? See that banner? That is the work of BK Broiler. So you may not see his face as often today, but just know that he's clickety clacking the buttons behind the scenes today. All right, let's get into this. Our guest today, she is an actor, a writer, a director. She was one of my ensemble mates at Tom Todoroff's conservatory in Ensemble 10 recently. She's also part of a collective of actors, writers, directors called Bijou Collective that we will talk more about. And on top of that, it is also her birthday today. So without further ado, well, maybe a little further ado, drum roll, please. This is a little further ado. Please welcome to the studio, Miss Erin Elizabeth Reed.
Hi.
Hello there. Hello, hello.
Oh, thank you for that finger drum roll. I loved it. I could feel it pounding in my.
Good. And
all the way down
also
in my-
we have this birthday present for you here today.
Aww.
Not only did you get, we actually didn't plan this. I think I knew that this was your birthday, but I didn't. At some point, I knew it was September 28th, but I had forgotten. Yeah, we didn't plan this. So this is, I think you're our first birthday podcast guest. So
it's good to be number one.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think Brandon, confirm or deny. Have we ever had someone on the podcast on their birthday? What a gift. What a gift.
It is a gift. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
I hope this was on your list. And yeah, so not only are you a podcast guest, we have these balloons here for you. I suppose I can FedEx them down to Texas.
Yes, if you could do that. Yeah.
How about I'll send one to Texas and one to LA, and I'll blow up one more and send it to New York, so that
perfect.
Whenever they catch up to you, you'll have them there.
Cover all my bases.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Thanks. Thank you.
So happy to have you on the show here. This is part of a series where we are highlighting and featuring our newest audition session directors who have come on board with Laughing Vikings Actors Audition Club. Last week we had, who do we have last week? Monine Daly was last week. Next week we've got Cheryl Poirier and then a handful of others. So this is our series, and we're doing this to feature you guys and to talk about your careers and how you got started, but also to introduce you to our actors and to our clients so they can put names to faces when they're looking for self-tape audition help. So super excited to get into everything. But first, our favorite part of the show, or one of our favorites, is the 1 minute life story. So you got 1 minute to go through your life. BK Broiler. Oh, there he is. There he is. Everyone give BK Broiler some extra love. He's not feeling so good. He's a little under the weather, but he's a trooper. So here we go. That is your timer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erin Elizabeth Reed's 1 minute life story starting now.
I was born down in a hollow. No, just kidding. Born and raised in Texas. Went to law school at UT Austin. Did the legal thing for about 6 years. Was on a partnership track in a big law firm, and I was incredibly unhappy. And I said, you know what? Time to do what I've actually always wanted to do, which is pursue acting. So I dropped the law. I got involved in the film community in my local town, which was Houston, Texas at the time. Made a lot of great connections, ended up moving to Los Angeles, lived and worked out there for about 8 years. Had a fresh epiphany, went to the Todoroff Conservatory, ended up in New York, and now I've written a play and I'm directing it next month, back in Los Angeles, actually. So is that? And
5 more seconds.
I love dogs.
Nailed it. Ding, 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 ding. That was Erin Elizabeth Reed's 1 minute life story. Fast and furious. Yes, Brandon approves. Brandon approves. Great job. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, right. We wanted to show a clip too. I spaced on that. See, Brandon, without you on camera here, I don't know what the fuck's happening. So we're going to back it up now, and I'm going to roll a clip. Usually I roll the clip first, and that's your intro, but I missed it. So we're going to roll the clip, but here's what we do. We have to say Got to roll your R's. Roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
Look, I know this sounds crazy, but these things that have happened are real. Please, maybe just hold her hand for a moment. See what happens.
We're interviewing job applicants today for an entry-level position in our company.
Let's go meet our first candidate, shall we? So, George, tell me a little bit about yourself. Your resume here is very impressive, and you come highly recommended from your professors.
I sometimes,
I think my IQ just lowered by about 20 points. You know, I looked you up.
I'm sorry? Well, I listened to your music. Rather to you playing Chopin's music.
When I heard about this, I just had to find out for myself, and when my search came up empty, well, I searched your maiden name, and there it was. You know, I was surprised how well you managed to transfer from one hand to the other.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I play violin.
It's a much more refined instrument, don't you think? Willard.
The state's oldest duck. Well, he had to go sometime.
We don't do tabs here.
what'd you say?
Maybe you should call it a night before security sweeps your dressing room.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
I don't know anymore. I need like a German Shepherd. Yeah. Ooh, or a wolf.
Check.
Hey, are you gonna eat that?
No.
Oh, it's really good.
Erin Elizabeth Reed, everyone.
Oh man.
So many different looks in that demo reel. You looked very different in every one. And I assume no ducks were harmed in the filming.
No ducks were harmed in the making of that series. No, that was
Phew.
yeah. Mr. Affleck was relieved.
It was good to go. Yes. All right. Well, we got your 1 minute life story down. Once again, welcome. My first question that we always ask everyone is, what was your very first performance ever in life?
I mean, being born, that's a performance.
Standing ovation, I heard.
Yeah. I think, shoot. I mean, I was in like dance, not pageants, but recitals when I was little bitty, like maybe 3 or 4. So I think I was Raggedy Ann. But outside of dance, a show that I remember was I was actually the like the narrator of like a little preschool play. And I remember being really upset because they hadn't cast me as a character. They had given me the narrator job to like introduce all the bits that the other kids got to play.
Right.
And yeah, but so I got up there to do the bit and to open the show, and I didn't have my little index cards with my lines. And the lead administrator like shuffled up and tried to hand them to me, and I like refused them and was like, no, like I don't need those. Like, what are you talking about? You're cramping my style here. And yeah, apparently she just kind of shrugged at the audience, but I had all my lines memorized, so I didn't need my cue cards. That's the first one I remember. Yeah.
They probably chose you to be the narrator because you were the only kid who could like speak clearly and enunciate words. So you lost out on your role because of your speaking ability.
Right. If only I had been more of a mumbler.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you could have been one of the leads.
Yeah.
And not the narrator. Yes. And do you remember anything about that? What was it about?
I don't, honestly. I have a vague sense that it was like maybe enacting fables, like Aesop's fables or something like that. And I had to say the moral of the story at the end too. I honestly don't remember the what.
Well, it was a while ago.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it was a little while.
How old were you then?
I must have been, I'd say 4 or 5.
Oh yeah. Well, makes sense that you don't remember then.
Yeah.
So flash forward, law school. Hard to believe, it's like you never hear of a lawyer going all the way through law school and then realizing they hate every second of it and then quitting law, right? That's not a story that you hear every fucking day.
I guess not every day. I'm sure there's somebody else out there with a
Right.
incredibly similar.
I feel like half of all lawyers go through it and then realize they hate themselves, their life, the company, the career, the lifestyle, and are like, this was a huge mistake. I feel like it looks cool on TV when you're like, oh, look at me being a lawyer here in court. And then you realize that I imagine a ton of it, or what I've heard is a ton of it is just like paperwork and articling and researching and reading. And it's not all the glitz and glam of the big courtroom speech.
No, that is that's definitely a highlight moment of the year, but lawyers work really hard to stay out of the courtroom. Actually. It's always advantageous to the client if you can get things handled without having to go to the judge for something.
Right.
Or get to trial. So yeah, if once you're at trial, that's like the last resort. And
I think I knew that from watching Better Call Saul.
Yes.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, good reference. Nice shout.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So you quit the law career. Oh, actually, yeah, fire that up there, Brandon. Monine Daly, also a conservatory ensemble mate of ours and an audition session director. She was our guest last week on episode 106. She says, you were born today. Yay, Erin.
Thank you. Yay.
Today, not today, like
yes, I can. I was born today.
I wasn't born yesterday. I was born today. Yeah. So you quit the law career. How did that transition happen? Had you been doing acting, or you'd been thinking about it the whole time, or you were doing it like community acting on the side, or?
Exactly. I actually, when I was in law school, there was a student group called Assault and Flattery. And we were a musical review. There was like a main show where we put on a full-length musical, and then there were a cappella singers during the intermission. And I was part of the main show my 3 years in law school. And we'd take a premise like Romeo and Juliet, and then play it out in the courtroom, and It was full of puns, and all the songs were, it was very Baz Luhrmann. We took all these famous songs, either modern pop songs or some musical standards, and we'd change all the lyrics, and honestly, I gotta tell you, Assault and Flattery fucking saved my life. So, Assault and Flattery is the reason I had a law career at all.
Because that was your favorite part of it, like you.
Yeah, it kept me energized and engaged.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And then when I started, I accepted a job at a law firm in Houston and moved down to Houston, and found out that the Houston Bar Association did a very similar thing, and they called it night court. And every year in the summer, we had a big musical review fundraiser, and we got to perform at the major, the Wortham Center. It's like the big theater in town where Broadway regional productions come through. So we got to occupy this massive stage for a week every summer and put on this musical review full of lawyers.
I love that you were a lawyer because of the after hours theater that you were involved with.
Yeah, it's what made it worth doing.
And then how did you make the transition? How did that go about? And then when did you get to LA?
Let's see. how did it exactly go down? Well, without getting like too down, right around 2009, 2010, basically my life just fell apart. I was married at the time. That wasn't working. I was realizing that my job wasn't working for me, for my soul satisfaction. And my law firm, Real Talk, just said, Erin, like, we noticed that you're not really putting in the effort anymore.
You're phoning it in.
But yeah. So what's
You're
going
showing
on?
up for all the theater rehearsals, but you keep skipping court.
So we gracefully parted ways. I took a job for about another year in a smaller firm that theoretically was going to require fewer hours. And I simultaneously started getting into, I sought out film acting classes. And yeah. I had auditioned for an agent in Houston, and the agent brought me on board, and they were like, look, you're fab, but you're very theater.
Right.
So you need to like check this studio out. Let's get you honed in on some on-camera skills. And then from there, once I started getting in classes, I just networking with my fellow students, branched out, met this massive film community in Houston, believe it or not. And just kind of integrated myself in that world until I reached a point where I said, okay, this is great. What's next? Bigger market. So that precipitated Los Angeles. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you remember your first paid gig as an actor?
First paid gig. I feel like I do. Hang on.
Oh yeah, I think you said you have the check, right?
I do.
You kept the check. Let's see it.
This is there's actually 3 different here. This is the first $1 that I earned from cashing my first on-camera work.
Wow.
And I think it was a little commercial, like a little local commercial. And then I have two checks here because one represents a check that I received first. And then the other check is I had actually performed that job previous, but I didn't get paid till later. So they're like my three firsts.
Gotcha. Classic non-union work to start out, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do the work and then get paid 9 months later. That's cool. And it was $50. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, I think so. Like $50. Yeah.
$50. Yeah. I remember the first time I ever got paid for anything showbiz related was $20 at a stand-up show. And I remember thinking like, this is insane. These people are going to pay me money for this. Like I'm having so much fun. Just telling dumb jokes, and someone gave me, but I had worked up to that $20. First, it starts out with beer tickets and chicken wings and maybe a little nugget of weed here and there. And then finally you start getting cash. And then sooner or later you start getting zeros added to that. So
yeah,
we're all part of the struggle. I also love that you have, we're kind of similar in the fact that previous to getting into acting and performance related things, we both had corporate careers that you would not consider fun or funny. I was in life insurance and you were in the law. And then we both had these epiphanies of not really doing what we felt we were meant to do on this earth. So congrats. And I know that there's probably like, I would think anyone watching this right now, there's probably people watching this in a corporate job right now, wondering how to branch out into things that they really want to do. And then the sad thing is there's thousands or millions of people out there that their entire life will want to do what you did, and they'll never have the the bravery and the courage to do that, they won't be able to figure out a plan, or the fear of losing that regular paycheck will stick with them. So how did you manage that in breaking free of that one life path to going something that is, I mean, it's entirely different. It's one is creative and fun, and there's no clear set career path. Certainly not any clear source of income in the beginning compared to the track that you're on. Like a law track is about as prescribed as you can be. You know, you take the school, then join a firm as a junior person, and then article, and work your way up, and eventually get on to the partnership. But how did you find breaking free to that? How did that happen?
You know, it really, when I got to the point where I was so, I don't want to say broken, but the life I was living was more painful than the fear of making a change. And once I got to that point and realized what I had to do, everything else, I didn't worry about. I mean, that's not to say that I didn't have anxiety about where I was going to get, you know, money to pay for tomorrow's food or anything. It just means that I had faith in myself. I just trusted the process and thought that, you know, no matter what, someday we're all going to die. And I do not want to be on my deathbed going, well, you know, I was comfortable but unhappy.
Right.
So I would much rather be lying on my deathbed going, man, I fucking went for it.
Right.
Like, good on you. Good job.
Congrats. Yeah, that was the exact same feeling when I first started stand up. And I was still working at the life insurance company, but knew that I didn't want to be there. And that was the feeling that I was starting to have, was either I need to do this and at least make the attempt and get into it and see how I feel about it, or it's going to bug me for the rest of my life. And same thing. I was like, I don't want to be one of those people who's on their deathbed regretting their entire life, and more so regretting the things that they don't do versus the things that they did do.
Yeah, totally. And that's not to say that, you know, there's tons of people out there who are actually, life really works for them and they're perfectly happy doing the corporate thing, and they have something else creative that they do as a hobby.
Right.
And that works for them. I just knew for me, that was not going to be enough for me, that this artistic calling was really the driving force of my life. And if I didn't pay attention to it, I was going to be miserable. And I couldn't do it anymore.
Assault and flattery was not enough. You needed to do it full time. We got a note here from, looks like a friend of yours. Jackie Pritchard says, I am so happy that you followed your heart. I still have my postcard you sent after the move to LA.
Jackie, so great you joined us.
How do you know Jackie?
Jackie was my drama teacher my senior year in high school. Yeah, she directed our one-act play.
Amazing. Yeah, that's huge. Like, people like that. Nice to meet you, Jackie, and thank you on behalf of Erin and the world for unleashing a creative. Like those drama teachers, whether it's like kids stuff or high school or university, planting those seeds of creativity and just planting the love for the craft and for the art into people. That's huge, and I'm sure that's really rewarding to see people. It's probably a small percentage of people that go on to do it professionally, but those people who do, I'm sure make it all worthwhile. So look at this, Jackie. You raised her right in those. And here she is on a podcast talking about all of her showbiz endeavors. All right. I want to move on and shift a little bit. So you did, you were in LA. You were a little jaded, or just not finding what you wanted in LA? What prompted, essentially you left LA and then enrolled in an acting conservatory, which is how we met, through Todoroff Conservatory. Yeah. But how did that transition happen, and why did that happen?
Yeah, so I don't know, life kind of happens in cycles, and I'd been in LA for a while, and have a ton of friends, colleagues, connections, and amazing projects that I was a part of out there. But similar to like if I was doing law and then had to step back to get into acting, when I was a senior in high school, Jackie, I don't know if you know this, I was contemplating where I was going to go to college and what I wanted to do. And I really wanted to major in acting, like Juilliard was my dream, which is in New York. And I hid like Juilliard pamphlets under my mattress. I would take them out at night before bed and look at them. And I just told myself that I couldn't have that. I didn't have enough tangible role models to aspire to get me there.
Didn't seem real in
it
people.
Felt like a dream for somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. So I say that because after LA, as I'd been in LA for 7 or 8 years, I started reevaluating my life again. Okay, what's satisfying me here? What else is left unfulfilled in my life? And I went back to, the Juilliard thing, the studying in New York. And I had met Tom Todoroff at one of his workshops in Houston, literally months before I moved to Los Angeles, and just fell in love with his style of teaching. I was just enthralled with his process and had this massive desire to work for him. But I went to LA, did the thing. Anyway, Tom pops up in my head. I jumped online. I was like, what's going on with his conservatory? And I saw that applications were open for the fall term starting, that they, because of the pandemic, had moved to an online format, which meant I didn't have to pack my bags and get to New York right away. And I thought, what the hell? I need to go for this. Like, this is another thing. If I'm on my even if I don't get in, this is something I need to do.
Right.
So I went for it, and what do you know? I got accepted. And then the rest just kind of rolled me on through up to New York this past spring. Yeah.
Yeah, we were, for everyone watching, Erin and I were in the same ensemble with, what was there, 22 of us?
22, yeah.
22 of us. And it was really, it was incredible, transformative experience. But one of the cool things is we were, as a result of COVID, they did 2 things. One is they moved to this hybrid model where you didn't necessarily have to move to New York, which means on top of the tuition expenses, you need to find living arrangements and you have to have money for the New York lifestyle, which is challenging for people. But the other thing they did is they went from, it was a 2-year program, which for a lot of people, that for me, I had attended several of his workshops here in Toronto and knew about the conservatory, but already being in the business and already actively working and auditioning and having an agent, it felt like, okay, I'm not going to press pause on my life and my career for 2 full years. It seemed like too much of a commitment to do that, but they condensed everything and jammed those 2 years into 8 months, and it was hybrid. So yeah, it was just like the perfect conditions.
Yeah, the stars aligned. It was just, right.
Not to mention that it was also COVID. So as a result of COVID, there was less in person and less of the usual things that we were doing with our time. So it was just like the opportunity was there where I had more time in my schedule as well too. So now we're all graduates in E10, EX, as we say. And I think we've probably got a few people watching who are also ensemble mates. What else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about you've recently come on board with Actors Audition Club as an audition session director, right now helping people remotely via Zoom. Monine says EX for life.
Yeah.
That's right. So tell us about that experience. You've recently run a few audition sessions remotely, where you connect with an actor via Zoom as their reader and as their director, and also helping edit together the sessions too. So do you want to share some of that, why that was something that you wanted to do, and what's exciting you about that, and what your experience has been so far?
Oh man. I'm just all about let's play. And so nothing excites me more than somebody coming in with material and saying, "Hey, play with me. Let's level this up. I really want to give my best." And the experience of actually doing it is, I don't know, just that and then some. I mean, I love really uncovering layers, surprises, opposites, humor in the text. And I just feed off the other person's energy. It's really a collaborative give and take experience. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just something that I really love to do, and it's a perfect fit. The technology bringing us together from across state lines and across international lines.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic process to get to work with people all over North America right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about, we always highly recommend Tom and his either his weekly Zoom workshops or the full conservatory or summer intensive in New York. But the really cool thing about his system and framework is it helps you as an actor, but it's also a directorial language that allows you to communicate very simply and directly to actors, giving them suggestions that they can immediately implement and act upon, rather than being like, sometimes you work with a director and they're doing their best, but it can be a little nebulous, like they're trying to explain in metaphors and in similes and kind of just nebulous directions where you're like, okay, I kind of get what you're saying, but what do you actually want me to do? And that's what I love about Tom's, and it's the reason me, Brandon, you, Monine, Deanna Shinsky as well, we're all of that school. So it's just armed us with a language and a way to look at a scene and look at a script that is that allows us to communicate that to an actor and make really quick adjustments. I think of it like almost like what is it called? Like when you go into a recording studio and there's all these dials and switches and stuff, and you can just bring a couple of those levels up, and all of a sudden you've transformed a scene. And we've all seen Tom do this, where in the span of half an hour, he's taken something that was kind of like, like it was okay, but not super engaging, to something when you're like, holy fuck, this is brilliant. And it's because of the framework, I think, and it's also because of the language. So it's great to have you on board. And you worked with Neetu Thakur, who is one of our regulars here, who I don't think we've ever met in person. We've always done, Brandon usually is often working with her remotely. And again, a testament to the technology, because we've got people all over the world that we connect with to help with their auditions, and we may never have met them in person, but because of Zoom and the internet, we're able to do that. So what was your experience specifically with her?
I feel like I've met Neetu in person,
right?
Because she just lights up the room. I mean, her energy is so big. I love working with Neetu. She's incredible. And to your point about seeing a scene change in a short amount of time, she's fantastic about absorbing direction and taking it in and giving a truly altered performance that is still her. It's really wonderful to watch her arc from the top of the hour to the bottom, and she delivers such strong work every time.
Right. Yeah, and those are always the best sessions, where the actor is very open to play, open to suggestions and redirects and ideas, at least to make the attempt in one take. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But versus some actors who come in and they're locked in, they've memorized it a certain way, and they have a certain idea of this is how I'm going to do it, and that's it. It's obviously much more fun to be able to give some directions and some back and forth, and you just end up discovering and I feel like anything creative and artistic, especially, it's like the idea of 1 + 1 = 3, and having outside eyes, you discover things that it's tough as an actor. Like, you don't see yourself, and you're biased. You are you can't, it's hard to like zoom out and then look at your performance. So having those second eyes, that's why we always strongly suggest, I know that there's a lot of actors, for either for time or convenience or money, they're using family members or friends who are not actors and not professionals, but that's okay. But what you're missing is that professional expertise and the professional knowledge of a trained actor, or someone who's a trained director, or someone who's got actual casting experience in the business and knows what casting is looking for and knows how the process works. And you're just not going to get that by working with your uncle or your kid or your spouse who's a non-actor, which just means you're leaving your best performance on the table because it's never been uncovered.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I've been there. I've been guilty of that. Guilty is the wrong word. Sometimes life throws you shit and you got to work with what you got. But I do always know that when I work with a colleague who, especially one of my colleagues, where we share the same language because of the conservatory, there's a shorthand to it. And I trust that what they're giving me is informed and inspired and truthful, that they're not blowing smoke up my ass.
Right.
It's always to level up the other person's performance. And I always know that I've given way more generous work when I work with somebody like that than when I have to grab the dog, and read lines with them or something.
Right. Yeah. And that's why we always, obviously we're a little biased because we run this Actors Audition Club and we run a service, but we know that the payoff, the investment in investing into professional auditions, the payoff is massive because every gig is 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures potentially. So the trade-off of $50 or $100 to invest in your auditions to then book a life-changing role is massive. And I always challenge people too, is every TV show and every movie that you love features professional actors and professional crew people behind the camera. So it's like, why would you think you're going to get into that league by working with your brother or your uncle or your kid who is not professional? They don't know how to run a camera. They don't know how to edit. They don't know how to give you directions and advice and analyze a scene like a professional might be. So it doesn't make sense that someone would want to get to the big leagues by using amateur equipment or amateur help to run it, which is why we've had great success here at Actors Audition Club. And certainly a big part of that is our session directors too. So thank you for hopping on board.
I'm really thrilled to be a part of this organization. I love your mission and what you're about. And I know that I'm pursuing my path and my dreams, and I look out at others and I'm like, I want you to do that too. I'm like, how can I support you in getting there too? Yeah. Right. So
yeah, which is great because a lot of people don't have that. So it is an industry and a business where it can be a little lone wolf and everyone's out to get theirs. And some people have that mentality when they see other people book something, they see that as in a scarcity mindset where they're like, oh, you booked that, you took an opportunity away from me, rather than seeing people like you see people around you succeed, then that you should feel happy and full of gratitude and then realize, oh, this abundance is close to me now and I'm a part of that. And Brandon and I have talked lots that phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats. So it's like, if you're one of those people out there where when your friends and your colleagues and people you went to school with are booking and succeeding, if you're getting tinges of jealousy or getting upset or feeling like their success is taking away from your opportunities. You got it all backwards. And that might be the reason that you're not succeeding, is because you have this scarcity mindset instead of an abundant mindset. So yeah, there it is. So I want to shift into your recent project right now. You have formed a collective with some of our ensemble mates, and you have written and you are directing a short play that is going to premiere in Hollywood at the Sweet and Short.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet Hollywood.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Got it. So tell us about Bijou Collective, and tell us about the upcoming festival.
Yeah, great. So myself and 4 other E-teners sitting around chatting one day, and I believe it was Deanna who just said, you know what? I really want to make my own work. Who's with me? And we basically all just raised our hands, and we were kind of like, okay, we're doing this. What are we going to do? And so we had some preliminary meetings, and I had this old play stashed in the drawer of my desk that I wrote 5 years ago. And we had all agreed we should start with something small, you know, a contained project, since we're learning as we go. And so I presented that to the group, and I said, what do we think about this? And they said, yay, let's do it. And so we were slowly gearing up towards self-producing it in New York when long around mid-July, Tessie, another in the group, said, you know, this is all great, but if we'd like to do something sooner rather than later, why don't we submit this to the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival and see what they say? And everybody said yes. So we pitched the project to the festival like overnight, like within 48 hours, the deadline, we had to pitch it and blah, blah. And then we waited and waited and waited. And on August 9th, so like 7 weeks ago, we found out that the festival had accepted us as an official production in the fest. Yay! So then we had to now we've been scrambling in rehearsals, marketing for the show, liaising with the festival, and we're spread out all over the country. So we're all flying in to Los Angeles for October. I'm heading out on Saturday. And yeah, those are the bullet points.
You go on Saturday?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give everyone a shout out, the whole group? I mean, you mentioned a couple, but
yeah. So the Bijou Collective is myself, Tessie Arasti, Deanna Nicole Shinsky, Joanna De Leon, and Ksenia Babayeva.
Babayeva. There you
Babayeva.
go. Nailed it. And I believe we have a clip as well related to Bijou Collective. Brandon, backstage, you ready to roll the clip? Roll the clip.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's break this down. I loved what you did where you kind of I have this
scary ghost story. That's what I'm trying to go for.
Yes. So I really liked that. Can we actually dial that up even more? Really try to scare them with this ghost story.
Okay, cool.
Well, that brings me to my next point on the recycled line, Sheila. Whatever you did, ghost story with the dumpster fire, now you gotta top that. So go even harder. What do the blue bins represent to you? Are they a mystery? And because he's catching you on the fly and you're having to invent this while you're talking, you've thought about the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The recycling, you're having to think up on the fly. So
cover it.
Okay. So boom, with all of that, let's take this again.
Yeah. And it's worse than just that. The sign says everything must go. That means us too. We're probably going to end up in a dumpster fire out back. And from there, who knows where we'll go.
A dumpster fire? Sweet!
Or we could be tossed in the blue bins and recycled into
Garter belt clips?
Surfboard wax.
single-use plastic water bottles.
Oh, surfboard wax.
Yes. Okay. I love that. I love that. Bring the hips.
All right. So that was a little behind the scenes of a Zoom rehearsal. You guys are all at that point. You were all over the country.
Yep.
You were directing, and then just to let people know, the leads, they're all mannequins.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't even tell you what the premise is. So
yeah, tell us the premise.
It's on the surface. The story is about 3 department store mannequins who discover that their store is going out of business, and they have got to come up with a way to save the store, or else they risk imminent death themselves.
The highest of stakes.
Yes, the highest.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, I got to work with all of you guys, all of you ladies in conservatory, and you're all amazing. So I'm sure it's going to go great. Also, you've been doing some fundraising. You've got a GoFundMe to raise some of the production funds. And I think we're going to flash that on the screen there. And Brandon will, if he can drop that into the chat as well, so that it's a clickable link, that would be awesome.
Oh, thank you, guys.
There it is. And Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club, we were happy to donate to the cause a little while back too. So
yes, thank you.
Fundraising is going well for you. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate the support, the peer-to-peer support. It means so much to all of us. This has been such an incredible opportunity and really an adventure, and it's all happening so quickly, much quicker than we expected, and we just didn't have time to seek grant money or other kinds of funding. So being caught, I don't want to say behind the 8 ball, but maybe on the back foot a little bit, we're seeking support from our peers and community and network to help raise production funds. Great news. We've got our plane tickets covered. So that's incredible. We've got access now to a rental car. That's amazing. And we're so close to being able to pay for our full month of accommodations and rehearsal space. So those are the big 3. And after that, really, we're just seeking additional support so that we can eat and not starve. And right. I'd love to be able to feed my cast and crew. Right. So if you're listening and you want to support independent production, female-led voices and stories, we would appreciate it if you went to our GoFundMe and donated. Any little bit helps. We also have super fun prizes for our donors. Some really, really fun stuff. So check it out. And if you can't, if you might at least share it thoughtfully with somebody who might be interested, right, that would also mean the world to us. Yeah, you can find Bijou Collective on Instagram. I know you've been sharing a lot there. And then we just we put the GoFundMe link. It's gofundme.com/f/quick-change-play for those that are just listening and can't see that, but it's on the screen here. But you can find Bijou Collective or look up Erin Elizabeth Reed on Instagram, and you'll find links there. But go donate. Maybe we can just pay for the whole thing by the end of this podcast. That would make my birthday so special. There you go. Make it her birthday. She's got the birthday wish, she's got the podcast. Now just let them eat. Give them enough money so they can at least buy cheap tacos from a taco truck in LA. We're not looking for 5-star meals. I mean, yeah.
How did you get you said the plane tickets were covered from a sponsor. Was that just some angel or was that a corporate
Yes,
thing?
we have a very dear angel investor, shall we say, who really believes in us as a group and wanted to make sure that we at least were all there. That's the first step.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge.
So
Huge. Well, support the arts. Click the link. Go find that GoFundMe. We'll just stay on. We'll make this a telethon now. And we'll be
yes.
I've got John in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he's agreed to donate to $3,000.
John, thank you. You're an official associate producer.
He's the best. Yes. What else? Tell us. We always like to ask, what advice would you give to your past artist self?
Girl, trust your gut. Trust your instinct. There's no need to self-judge or worry about what anybody else wants. Whatever you feel inspired to give unfiltered, that's the best right thing, because nobody else can do exactly that. And you can't do anybody else's thing. So just relax and just do you, follow that instinct.
I like that as a book title. Girl, trust your gut.
Girl, yeah. There's a series out there like Girl, Wash Your Face.
Yeah.
Like Girl, Trust Your Gut.
Rachel Hollis is Girl,
Yep.
Wash Your Face. Yeah. Well, now you can have yours. Girl, trust your gut.
Girl, trust your gut.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with our audience here relating to your career, to Bijou Collective? I know we've covered a lot already.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I wish I had a question to answer. I'm feeling like ask me anything and I'll answer. But we don't have that right now.
Well, I'll ask a question. What's your approach to directing? You're directing a play. You're directing people's auditions through our audition sessions. So how do you look at things from a director standpoint?
Thanks for bringing that up. Because I've noticed I sort of have two versions of my process depending on how much time we have. When we're running an audition, we've got a limited window, and this is really just about you feed me. Come in prepared. I've looked at the script. I've got my ideas, but I might toss them out the window when I see what you're bringing. And in that situation, I'm going to work to see, this is my thing. I'm doing this dial-up thing. Dial up what you naturally give. Yeah. Work that mixing board. And like with Nitu the other day, she was feeling a little exasperated about one little moment, and I happened to have an idea that I could throw her way, and she could latch on and be like, yes. And it really opened up this, otherwise what could have changed a scene's tone into something spoofy, and it worked. And she was able to like maintain the gravity of the scene while still having fun and being herself. When I'm in rehearsal with my cast, we've got much more time to really dig in. And in that situation, there's a lot more talk back, a lot more time spent in dialogue, unearthing how this word here relates to something we saw 3 scenes prior, and connecting it all and forming this nice arc. And then we just let it run. I'm like, again. I just want them to start getting in the flow of having the words come out. And the more that they embody the words and don't have to think about it as much, the more natural, happy accidents start to happen. And they teach me about my script all the time. Every rehearsal, they find things that I didn't even realize consciously were at work. And they point it out, and I'm like, oh, you're right. It's there. I heart this process so much. It delights me to no end. I love the storytelling process.
Well, it shows because your enthusiasm and your excitement and your dedication to everything, you're a pro. So yeah, it's amazing. I think we got to wrap it up here, bring the ship back to port. So I want to thank you. Make sure everyone give Erin Elizabeth Reed a follow. You got her Instagram there at Erin E. Liz Reed. We're also going to link. Oh, we got one more question. I'll come back to that. Jackie Pritchard says, here's your question. I always told students to only pursue acting when you can't imagine doing anything else. If there's anything else you dreamed of doing, do that. The road to being a working actor is tough. Do you agree? What advice would you give the adult who is still dreaming of acting? Great question, Jackie.
Great question. I can't say that I agree black and white because I can dream of doing other stuff. And the road to being a working actor is tough. I would just say, like, if you're interested, it doesn't matter what it is. Acting, cobbling shoes, climbing mountains. If you are interested, if you are curious about something that is unexplored in your life, take a step today. Go for it. It can be as small as researching like the nearest airport to Mount Everest. Like, what airport am I flying into? Take one action today and start exploring. Live your fucking life because it's all you got. And you might find that this thing that you're curious about is just a hobby for you. And it fits in with your life like this. And you may find that this thing that you're curious about is the lodestar of your life that you've been secretly pining for every day up till now. Give yourself that gift of saying yes to yourself. It's the best thing you can do in life, I think.
Great answer. I think you just made Jackie Pritchard, your former drama teacher, proud. She's single tearing right now listening to her podcast. Yeah, I mean the thing that you said is at least turn over the rock or turn over the leaf, like explore it a little bit, so that the question is to some degree answered, rather than a lot of people never pursue that thing. And I think it's a little bit of fear of failure or success. Fear like, what if it doesn't work out? What if all my wildest dreams do come true and I'm not ready for that? But I think for some people, they never do it because the idea of that dream, if you never go for it, the idea of the dream remains intact and pristine. But the second you actually go for it, when things go wrong, all of a sudden the idea of that dream could crumble and shatter a little bit, or you realize maybe it's harder than you think. And so a lot of people never go for it because it's a nicer feeling just to keep it as a thing that
on the shelf.
One day I'll do it, and you never do it because you don't want to shatter that dream idea. But until you actually take some action and some steps to it, there's no point of it just remaining a dream. Make your dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no lie. It is tough, but anything worth doing is probably going to be tough. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter if you want to become a fighter jet pilot. Like, that's got its own challenges.
Right. You know? I can never be one because I'm colorblind.
That's right.
Can never pursue it.
So much for that dream, Lars.
Yes, I've been rejected from Top Gun over and over and over again. But I can play one in a movie. That's the thing. That's a great thing about being an actor. You can, if you don't quite have the skill, you can get pretty close enough to pull it off on camera and pretend to be. So one of these days, I'll be in a fighter jet, despite my crippling colorblindness.
This is a great premise for a story. I'm going to write you a part, Lars.
Thank you.
The colorblind jet fighter pilot.
Right. And then I just have to keep I'm trying to pass these colorblindness tests by lying red, blue, green, I think. No. Yes. Well, thank you, Jackie, for that question. That was a great question. I think the bottom line is follow your dreams and go for it. Certainly the pain of regret weighs more than the pain of taking the action steps and the learning and running into some obstacles. Don't be one of those people who at the end of their life is like, oh shit, I spent my entire life doing the wrong things. So yeah, follow your passions. And even if it's not like, you don't have to see, the top of the mountain, or you don't need to see the entire journey. You just need to see the next step and the next step, and every day take a few right actions in that direction and see where it takes you. And just trust that when you start taking those actions, clarity will come from action. Absolutely. And you'll get closer to things, and things in the universe will reveal themselves, opportunities and people and collaborators. And there's a lot of magic that happens, but it doesn't happen from sitting around thinking about it. That's that you'll drive yourself crazy, where you're just thinking and what's the word? You're good at words. What's the word? Ruminating was the word.
Hey!
Sit and ruminate. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Do that? And you're never really going to know until you just take some action.
The universe can't decide until you decide. Right.
And then the universe sees, oh shit, this person's kind of serious about it. And then things will start aligning. Things will align in your favor, and then some things will align against you as well. Sometimes people.
I love that, because that means I'm being tested to see how dedicated I am.
Right. It's like, oh, you really want all your dreams? Okay. Here's what you're going to have to face. So this has been a great episode. Thank you for hopping on. Make sure to follow Erin. Make sure to hit up Bijou Collective. Please donate to their GoFundMe. We can slap that up there one more time here. And it's also in the comments as well. And you'll find them on Instagram. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast. We're on all the podcast platforms, so whatever your favorite one is. And all the actors out there, if you want to elevate your audition game, you can register to our Audition Hero workshop at laughingvikings.com/audition hero. And for those of you who are active working actors right now, when you need audition help, specifically self-tape help, you can connect with Erin and any of our other audition session directors. And you'll find the link to that at laughingvikings.com. We'll hop on a call. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We've got clients all over the world, not just in North America. And one of our incredible session directors will connect with you, and they'll treat your audition like it's their own in order to help you unlock and elevate your own performance, so that ultimately you can book more roles in TV, film, and theater. Especially your dream role. That's what you should be thinking about. None of these little one-liners and two-liners, those are all great, but we all want to have some eye on the prize. Like, what's the ultimate dream role that you see yourself playing, and you want to be striving towards that. So thank you, Erin Elizabeth Reed, one more time. Also, happy birthday here. I will FedEx one of these to LA, one of them to Texas, and I'll blow up one more and FedEx it to New York City. So whatever metropolis you find yourself in, you'll have your happy birthday balloon. Enjoy your birthday dinner. You've got a family dinner coming out tonight.
Yep.
You're going to enjoy some Tex-Mex down there in Texas. So say hello to your family. I've had the chance to meet some of them as well too. So enjoy. Not too much tequila. Don't have too much tequila.
Just a little bit.
Be reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Enough for your birthday, but not too much that you don't make it to LA on Saturday.
That's right. I got rehearsal tomorrow, people.
Right.
So.
Right. All right. You're amazing. We love you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And everybody out there, follow everything that Erin Elizabeth Reed is doing and everything that Bijou Collective is doing, because they're all amazing artists, amazing actors, doing great things. So I'm sure that if you connect with them, more great things are going to happen in your life too.
Thank you so much, Lars. This has been a great pleasure being here visiting with you today. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you too. Happy birthday.
I
won't sing the whole song, but if we had more.
Kazoo? Do you have a kazoo handy?
Wait, one sec.
Thank you.
The official kazoo here. Glad we could deliver the goods. ABK, always be kazooing. One of my life philosophies.
Love it.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We've got Cheryl Poirier, one of our Toronto session directors. She'll be on the show. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.